Alright, so as we make our way through Act 2, let's talk more about Origins, because if you're playing as Sonic and Tails together, in addition to the special stages being a little bit annoying because of Tails potentially running into bombs and things like that, there's another problem. So earlier, how that sound effect got stuck, there's another major sound issue with this collection, and that is, if you're playing with Sonic and Tails together, Tails will often get stuck, and every time he gets stuck, he'll just basically jump in place. Traditionally in Sonic 2, if Tails gets stuck somewhere, he'll fly to where you are, like he'll basically respawn. But in the process of converting the 2013 version to the Origins collection, which again is like the retro engine housed within the Hedgehog engine, so it's like a weird setup. Something they did to implement this caused a new issue where, yeah, Tails will not respawn. He'll just kind of jump in place when he gets stuck somewhere. So yeah, you'll constantly hear the jumping sound effect if you're playing with Sonic and Tails. For this playthrough, it's not a problem because we're playing as Tails by himself. And again, that's how I would have played this game even if that glitch wasn't a thing. But it's worth mentioning. It's very grating from what I've heard. Again, I haven't actually directly experienced it myself because I usually don't play Sonic in this game. Control-wise, they're basically identical. The only main difference is Sonic has a slightly different ending, a slightly more elaborate ending, and Tails doesn't. And also in the originals, Tails couldn't even fly as player 1, so yeah, they're basically the same, but just, yeah, personal preference pretty much. And yeah, I always prefer to play as Tails, because as a character, for the most part, I need to stress, for the most part, I actually like Tails as a character more than Sonic. He's kind of the underdog, sidekick character, and I actually really like his arc in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. And then the series completely forgot about it, and that still makes me sad to this day. Again, by the time this video goes live, who knows, Frontiers might actually be out. In which case, I hope Tails' characterization is actually good if he's in it. Again, I'll probably wait to record Sonic 3 and Knuckles instead of recording them all together, like the games up to this point. Mostly just because I kind of want to see if they fix a few issues. It's still perfectly playable, it's just not ideal, but the other games being previously released for mobile, and in the case of CD, for consoles and Steam, those versions are mostly stable, but Sonic 3 being the new game for this collection has more issues, which is why I'm like more willing to go through these games without a patch. And again, in the case of Sonic 2, we don't have to worry about the sound glitches as much because we're not playing with Sonic and Tails together. Alright, so he has these little like electric attacks, and he also will drop mines, but you basically have to just spin dash up the side and deal damage. You can use the pinball flippers, but as we discovered from Sonic CD, I'm not a big fan of Sonic Spinball, so I prefer not to use pinball physics if I can help it. I am trying to do math very quickly, and I'm not succeeding. But I think we're actually past the halfway point. Again, when you have all the Chaos Emeralds and they're not just doing half-pipe special stages, these stages go by pretty quickly. I do feel like the half-pipe also takes the longest, because at least with Sonic CD, as much of a chore as some of those special stages are, you're still in direct control of how fast you're going. Like, obviously, I'm not good at those special stages, but if I were better at them, I'd be able to get through them really quickly. With Sonic 2, on the other hand, because of the half-pipe setup, you're basically going to be playing the stage for the same amount of time, assuming you don't have to restart, meaning it does take a long time. And yeah, I feel like this is the most like time-dependent special stage, and that you don't have a way to speed them up. It's just kind of what you see is what you get, so a problem with the half-pipe is not being able to like speed up or anything. Hilltop is kind of interesting. It's kind of like another Green Hill, but it's more vertical than horizontal. We have these little like platforms to take us around. So yeah, it's kind of like a similar setup to to Emerald Hill, but yeah, more vertical. Sonic 2 has a very interesting development history. From what I gather, it was actually made in a very short amount of time because it took them a long time to actually greenlight another Sonic game after Sonic 1 released. And then when they finally did approve the project, they were not given much time to actually make it. It was actually made by an American branch of Sega called the Sega Technical Institute, while the Japanese branch of Sega, to my knowledge, was working on CD instead. So yeah, I feel like that's also a big reason why there are little inconsistencies, like the spin dash working differently in CD versus this game, but both games had the spin dash. It was just two different development teams with unique spins on it. The song is also very interesting. I don't know how to feel about it. I like Sonic 2's music for the most part, but I almost feel like Hilltop is a song that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I don't know if that's like a hot take or something. To tell the truth, I'm not like really fully in tune with classic Sonic opinions as much as I am with 3D Sonic opinions, because even though I played these through the Mega Collection, now it's still a little bit too early for me to be subjected to the Sonic community's opinions on all these games. So yeah, it's an okay song, but I don't know, something about it isn't as like I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to the song, if that makes sense, but it's fine for the atmosphere of the stage. But like, yeah, relative to the rest of the soundtrack, this one's just kind of so-so. There are some really good songs in this game though, and I in general do really like the music in this game better than Sonic 1, even though I do feel like Green Hill is just like the quintessential Sonic song and stage, for better or worse. Again, depending on who you ask, it could be better and it could be worse. And again, that's mostly just oversaturation. There are definitely hopes that if they keep bringing back old stages, that they will go for more like obscure picks at some point, you know, stuff more like Hilltop. Even Emerald Hill would be nice, just because it would be Green Hill, but it wouldn't be like directly Green Hill based on like you know, unique layout features that are different between the two. Like just because like a lot of Sonic stages do take place in like Green Hill-esque locations, a lot of them do find ways to like have a unique energy to them that's not shared with the original Green Hill, and that goes for like a lot of the Sonic games, like 2D ones, like the advanced games, the Rush games, and so on. And just, you know, directly pulling from just Green Hill is kind of redundant when there are other Green Hill-like stages that would give the same energy that bring back Green Hill does, but in a slightly unique way. We have a lava fight here. This kind of reminds me a little bit of Marble. Clearly it's not a very difficult boss. As soon as Robotnik rises from the lava, just deal damage. He has a little flamethrower, but it's not overly effective. He will also launch fire onto the platforms. Yeah, it is very much like Marble's boss now that I think about it. A lot easier if you ask me, and I'm actually grateful for that. Now, Mystic Cave Zone is probably one of my favorite songs in this game. I don't know, I kind of like its very Genesis sounding, like, bass, I guess. I think that's bass. Like, this is almost like quintessential Genesis. If, like, you want to show someone what a Genesis sounds like, this is probably a good song to pick. It's also kind of a vertical level. It's almost a little bit more puzzle platformy than some of the other ones we've seen. You have these various levers that we can basically use to open up different areas. There's also a very notorious section in this game that's actually been changed up from the original. We'll go over that at some point because it's worth showing off. We also have these little crushers we have to be very careful about. So they'll also, yeah, lower you down as well, so you don't have to like try to actually jump certain gaps, which is nice. I do worry about these moving blocks, again, because of the hit detection with crushing. It's one of those things, this happens in Mania too. There's one particular segment that always makes me super nervous, even though I've actually never died there, but just the idea of the crushing physics in this game definitely are a little bit nerve-wracking at times, just because they're a little bit not super dependable at times, so yeah, best to be careful. Again, I would say be careful in the original also, but again, especially in any Retro Engine game. Again, being very careful around those pillars, just to be on the safe side. I feel like we haven't seen a checkpoint in a while, also that's the end of the stage. Moving on to Act 2, this stage has a very notorious pit that is very rude and tends to be a problem if you don't know where it is. In this version, it's actually been changed slightly, and we'll go over that a little bit later. For now, let's actually play through the stage as intended, as according to the original release. One thing I will add, and I will talk about this a little bit more if I remember, when we get to the to an upcoming zone. This is probably the game, in my opinion, that benefits from being 16:9 more than any other in this collection, because of how many obstacles tend to be difficult to predict. Like, I just ran into that spike earlier. Like, I almost feel like Sonic 1, you don't move as quickly, and that is a thing, I'm pretty sure, where there's like a speed cap in Sonic 1, and they took it out for 2. So 2 is more about going fast, but it has the downside of, if you're trying to go fast, you will run into things. So with the wider field of view, you will still run into things, as we have, but I do feel like your odds of actually, like, getting completely blindsided by random hazards is a little bit lower than Sonic 1, which is nice, or Sonic 2 on Genesis, which is nice. Again, not perfect by any means, but definitely, in my opinion, improvement. Again, through this collection there is a 4x3 mode as well, called Classic Mode, so if you would like a more true to the original experience, that is an option as well. Moving on to the boss, this is actually one of my least favorite bosses in the game because I always struggle with the hitbox. Basically, it's really hard to not get like clipped by one of the drills, so I tend to actually lose to this fight a lot. I'm trying to hold on to rings. The rocks will not hurt you, but the stalactites will. There we go, that actually wasn't that bad. So, with that, we have reached the end of Mystic Cave Zone Act 2. However, we are actually going to restart the stage. So, I am trying to remember where we need to go. Again, this wasn't like in the original, so I am trying to remember like what route we need to take to actually get here. It's one of those things where it's like you kind of avoid it in the original, but in this version, you're kind of encouraged to find one specific thing. Basically, we have to find a specific pit and drop down, and if we do so, we'll find a secret. I'm actually trying to remember where that is. I don't think it's this pit. Again, I would prefer not accidentally jumping into the wrong pit of spikes. I'm actually gonna like drop down. Yep, that's not the right one. At least there was a way to save yourself there. It is on the lower path, I know that much. I think it's up here actually. Basically, if you're going really fast and like zoom along, you'll most likely miss a lever you'll have to pull, and you'll just fall into a pit. And again, it's very annoying. This is not it. Where the heck is this, actually? I'm starting to second guess where this even is, which is not great. Again, this not being in the original, I tend to just not worry about this at all. Now that I'm actually having to go after this, I'm definitely having trouble remembering. It might be coming up. I think it's Act 2. If it's Act 1, that's unfortunate. Here it is. That's actually not what I was supposed to do. You're supposed to fall into the pit in this version. one more try. At least we know where it is now. So yeah, it's a very interesting secret. And again, another thing about this pit in the original that people didn't like is it's basically spikes. It's not like a bottomless pit or anything. So if you actually fall into it as supersonic, you basically have to just wait out the supersonic timer, which is very unfortunate, and definitely takes a while. So yeah, this is very, like, kind of not the best thing in the original, but for the 2013 mobile versions, they did add a secret to it, which is kind of nice. I like how I reflexively didn't get the secret because I was trying to avoid falling into the pit, even when I'm having to. Yeah, basically just stick to the lower route, and yeah, when you get to this pit, just deliberately fall in.